to see if they can reimburse us even for those costs that were passed on to Bank of Ghana since 2024. So going forward, the key thing or the key question is who takes charge of the costs incurred in that exercise? The goal for oil or the G4O since May of last year, we had to shut that down. An external audit is underway currently, and that entire program is being audited. The goal for reserves, that is the G4R. There's an external audit that's been authorized by the Bank of Ghana board, both from when it started until the end of 2024, thereabouts. We believe that going forward, what we have to do is to reform them, to reduce the cost further, to treat them as quasi-fiscal interventions. The net loss for the goal for reserves, the losses in 2023 was 1 billion and 54.84 Ghana cedis. Then in 2024, the net loss for the gold for oil was 1.8 billion Ghana cedis in 2024. On the other hand, the net loss for the gold for reserves in 2024 was 3.8 billion Ghana cedis.
To sell gold and make profit is easy. You just have to know your cost, and you just have to price at a discount that absorbs your cost and gives you a marginal profit. That is easy. Anybody can do that. But in 2022, when this program was being launched, the Bank of Ghana knew at the time that gold was already being bought in the open market by all manner of people, mostly foreigners, at the black market rate, the informal exchange rate, retail rate, if I can put it that way, and at the world market price, within a discount range of 1% to 2%. And you can ask any gold trader. That was how gold was being bought in 2021, 2022, 2022, and 2023. That is how gold has always been bought. So when Bank of Ghana was coming in, Bank of Ghana was not like Gold Board. PMMC did not have the market regulation and enforcement powers that the Gold Board has to deal with leakages and smuggling. And so the Bank of Ghana decided to use price to fend off smuggling so that it will get gold for FX. Knowing very well that there will be an intrinsic cost or losses. Spot price. Nobody buys gold at spot price for the purpose of making profit. Because when you buy at spot, you can sell at spot. Dory is sold at discount to take account of freight, insurance, handling charges, to take account of commissions for buyers and all that. So you obviously run at a loss. I see. The policy justification was that we needed the forex so bad to bring about macroeconomic stability, the benefit of which will make that loss infinitesimal. That is the whole point. So it is not about somebody not having the ability.
So the goal for oil or the G4O, since May of last year, we had to shut that down. An external audit is underway currently, and that entire program is being audited. When the audit is complete, we are happy to share audit findings with you. Then the G4R as well. There's an external audit that the Bank of Ghana board has authorized. The goal for reserves, that is the G4R. There's an external audit that's been authorized by the Bank of Ghana board. Both from when it started until the end of 2024, thereabout, and then also how it operated during 2025. So these audit reports, when ready, we are happy to discuss with your committee. But I must say that these are programs that are or more or less were introduced for specific to address specific.
First of all, it doesn't surprise me. Essentially, what the governor is saying is that the benefit of having increased reserves which is what is sustaining a lower value of the CD, goes beyond the trading losses that we may incur. What he's now saying is that if the trading will involve losses, and yet as a country we say that gold board is good and increasing reserves is good, then he wants the whole country to bear the cost of and not just back. Argument makes sense. If we keep insisting that gold board good. Gold board has helped increase our reserves. The trading that is done has helped keep the value of the CD, and that is a benefit to all of us. Then let's pay for it. That's what he's saying. Don't let the central bank remember. The central bank itself is not in a particularly good financial situation. And so all he's saying is that don't let me bear the brunt of this issue. If it is good for all of us, then let all of us pay for it. I think it is an argument that is worthy of listening to, and it is important that we all debate this. Remembering that one of the things that is also important is that let's have transparency, let's have accountability, let's know who this money is going to, how our trading losses are concerned, are occurring, so that when we are bearing the loss of the country, we can have an open, frank discussion as to what these losses mean and why we have to pay for it. But let us not forget. Essentially, gold trading allows us to retain the greater value of the CD in country. That cannot be a bad thing. That's value to what we are doing. But let us do this efficiently. Let us do this transparently. Let us do this with accountability, so that the bill will be easier to bear. If we need to have a bill tall. I hear the IMF. The merit in that report has been acknowledged. But hey, why should we stop gold purchases when they have kept the dollar stable and relatively lower than previous years? I just say that. Listen. This is a good thing. Let's do it. Let's continue to do it. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's fix it. Let's make it accountable. Let's make it transparent. Let's make it as efficient as possible. And let's bear the cost together. I have to agree. If it is good for us, if it is costing us money, why shouldn't we pay for it?
Sunrise on 3FM, the best in the morning.
And it makes complete sense.
The best in the morning is on 92.7. Sunrise on 3FM.
As a country, we are saying we've kept we like the city to be stable. We like the city if there's a developmental cost of owning our own economy, of taking a bigger chunk of the value of the seed of the gold we export. By all means, let's do it. Of increasing our reserves. By all means, let's do it. Some money to. Let's make it accountable. Let's make it efficient. But let's pay for it. Even if we need to at all. Listen. Call for review. Simply a call for the three things I've talked about. Accountability, transparency, and efficiency. And it says, let's review it. If we look at what the trading model and it meets our objectives that we've outlined. It is also transparent. It is also accountable. It is also efficient. Then we pay for it. I think that's as reasonable a demand as the central government can make. And who has to pay for it? It's the people of Ghana. Who is overseeing the best of the people of Ghana? The Honorable Minister of Finance, Dr. Tufosu. I'm not saying change the objective. They're saying let it be transparent. Let it be accountable. And let it be efficient. The objective is admirable of our small and artisanal miners. Let's do so. If it will stop smuggling, let's do so. If it will increase our reserves, let's do so. But I repeat, efficiency, transparency, and accountability should be the watchwords of the decision. Finance the cost of this trading model.
As well. The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, took his turn to face the Public Accounts Committee yesterday.
3 FM Sunrise.
Let me tell you a few of the excerpts from their Public Accounts Committee engagement. He explained that the gold for oil policy was suspended or cancelled because of operational challenges and significant financial losses. He told the committee that since it stopped, there hasn't been fuel shortages or long pump queues, which was one of the policy's main objectives. He also disclosed losses in ongoing audits, revealing that the Gold for Oil program recorded substantial net losses, around 1.4 billion cedis in 2024, and that an external audit had been authorized and is currently underway for both the Gold for Oil and Gold for Reserves framework to clarify figures and guide the next steps. He also called for reforms and national cooperation. He defended the Gold for Reserves framework as still very relevant for building reserves, but admitted that there are inefficiencies that must be fixed. But one of the major things he also spoke about was his appeal against politicization. He says that these issues should not be politicized, noting that the structural problems and financial leakages predate the current year, and called for constructive engagement rather than finger pointing.
Sunrise.
We'll be having a conversation on the back of this shortly. I've been joined by two experts in the field. Austin Braco Powers is a private legal practitioner, and Dr. Ramsey Inusa is the Director of Policy Research at the United Party. Sunrise. Gentlemen, good to have you. Thank you so much for joining us and good morning.
Good morning.
Happy New Year to you. It's my first time meeting you in 2026.
Yes.
How has the year been so far? So far, so good?
So far, so good. So far, so good.
How is work and politics? How is it going?
Well, you know, it's a balance of two titans, I would say. I mean, but, you know, you have to look at the collective goal and interest of the people. So that is what motivates us to always sacrifice time to come and discuss teaching issues of national concern.
Yeah.
And as we say, for God and for country.
For God and for country.
Yes.
And yesterday, Dr. Siama, he was at Parliament yesterday. He took a stand to face the committee, and a lot of revelations that has generated a lot of reactions from various quarters.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm sure you watched his engagement yesterday with the committee, and I'll start with you, Dr. Inusa. From where you sit, his responses to gold for oil, gold for reserves, the entire conversation, cancellation of some, calling for depoliticization. What did you make of his appearance and his utterances there?
Well, first and foremost, I must say that as a responsible opposition party, being the United Party, I think that, in my own best candid opinion, without any influence or bias whatsoever, Dr. Siama has reignited and brought back confidence into the Ghanaian economy.
Right.
Because of his prudent economic management as the central bank's governor. Dr. Siama's yesterday's appearance before the Public Accounts Committee was coupled with transparency and honesty and professionalism against all odds. As you've heard within the political quarters, as some have suggested and called for his head or his removal from that office. This is a governor that today, together with his prudent management of the economy and collaboration with the Ministry of Finance, has been able to stabilize our macroeconomic environment. Today, I asked the people of Ghana, what is the inflation rate? It's a single-digit number, 5.3%. The monetary policy rate has declined from 27% to now 18%. The debt-to-GDP ratio has declined from 60.8% to now 48%, significantly. And this is unprecedented under the aegis of our Fourth Republic. So this is a leader that we need to commend, and we need to support and guide him towards this journey in stabilizing our economy so that we can have transformational growth. They have been lucky, when I say they, the NDC government have been lucky to have access to the great transformational plan of the United Party. And we will continue to be a responsible opposition. As you know, that we are a centrist party. We're neither left nor right. And that we will work for the collective interests of Ghana. And that is why our popular mantra is Ghana first. And so today, I want to urge Ghanaians to celebrate facts, not propaganda or not mischief. But beyond these issues of the Gold for Oil and Gold for Reserve program, you know, there are certain fundamental teething issues of our economy. And I believe that it is something that we need to discuss as a country,
right,
and see how best we collectively mitigate all these issues going forward. Gold is a commodity that is appreciated by value year on year. And we have been blessed with a lot of gold reserves. We have the second largest reserves of gold in Africa.
True.
And we are number one in terms of production. What can we do to add more value to this gold, right?
So we stop exporting
So
them
we stop
raw.
exporting in this raw form. Under the aegis of the Great Transformational Plan and certain radical policies posited by the very honorable Alan Kojo Tramantin, is that we should reduce the amount of gold exports in this raw form by 60%. This is number one. So all gold that is mined in this country will not be exported. 60% of it will not be exported. What are we looking at? We're looking out for 60% value addition. And so if you look at our gold exports in terms of its destination, UAE and India receive most of our gold. Now, if you look at India, what do they use this gold for? It supplies their industrial base. When I talk about industry, I mean the jewelry industry. And India's jewelry industry currently has a market value of $90 billion. And by 2030, is going to rise by $120 to $130 billion projected. My brother, it is prudent unto us to have a vision that
we do it here.
We do it here and let the Indians come and pick it up. So I have even proposed that the government, together with the private sector, should set up a gold city. We have historic antecedents. We were once the Gold Coast, right? From history, China has replicated a very phenomenal economic policy that tackles globalization, called the Belt and Road Initiative.
Yes.
And you know that is tied to the old Silk Road of ancient China and ancient Asia.
Decades ago. Beginning globalization.
Do you get it? They have replicated SEM, but with what? A new economic agenda. Why can't we go back and visit our history and repackage our history and bring about a gold city or a gold enclave where it will be one of the largest trading area for golds as far as the trade of gold is concerned?
Would that not be the tendency to keep, trading it in its raw form? Are we able to refine it and then process it so that we stop,
That is what I'm talking about. So within that enclave, we should have an LBMA certified refinery, which we don't have currently in Ghana. So the Bank of Ghana buying its gold, it has to take it outside to get it refined before it comes and deposits it in its reserves, because all reserves of central banks have the LBMA standards for their gold reserves.
Right.
And you cannot buy gold from ASMs and come and put it in your reserve and say that is your gold reserve. That is not the standard. So I believe that under this gold city, we should have a refinery. We should also have incentives, fiscal incentives for foreign investors. So can you imagine Rolex being manufactured in Ghana? Can you imagine Patek Philippe? Can you imagine Cartier, right? And all these high-end jewelry brands operating within this enclave. I mean, we sit in this country where, you remember the popular fabric called dashiki? Or
Yes.
Where is it made? In China. The Chinese studied us and realized that, okay, this is what we need. And they produced it and supplied it to us. There's a market for it. We have a multi-billion-dollar market in India for jewelry. What are we doing?
Take advantage
of it.
I see. Let me come to you, Austin. You also listened to the finance minister yesterday. I don't want to call it the governor. Sorry, I don't want to call it a back and forth, but the engagement with the Public Accounts Committee. Yeah. Did anything stand out for you?
I think, as articulated by Doctor, the governor was straightforward and sounded in the beginning apolitical, which I think was good.
In the beginning?
Yes, apolitical, which was good. But largely he materially confirmed everything, what the IMF reported. Remember when the IMF earlier reported that there were operational losses under the G4R, the Gold for Reserves program. Some actors within this government
denied it.
And they undermined the data. So he validated the IMF's data. And what that does is that, or what that did to what the government, some actors had earlier done, is to call their earlier attempt into question. As to whether or not the IMF, but I have maintained that the IMF may be criticized for structural, or maybe criticized on structural and policy grounds. But when it comes to data integrity, the IMF data had rarely been questioned. So we need to be careful sometimes. And you know what this episode reflects, it tells us that there's this recurring challenge, political challenge, where you defend the indefensible when you are in government, only to admit or acknowledge hard truths when political pressure mounts. So that is one thing that we need to be mindful of, and elements of this government must be careful. When the thing is black, irrespective of whether or not you are in power or not.
Based on the admission of the operational losses, the chair of the Development Committee says costs. They don't want to call it a loss, but regardless how you call it, there's some 1.8 billion cedis we're looking at that went somewhere, or well, that we lost from the operations. Coming on the back of the concern you have about how they tried to cover it up or not to accept it or not to acknowledge it, do you think it will make them learn a few lessons going forward into this year and the work of Gold Board itself?
No, I think we should rather brace that for worse, because the thing is that even the debate about losses and costs, I don't understand. It is
semantics.
It is disingenuous.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that if you have been given $200 million to trade or to buy gold, and you ended up not getting goods worth that amount, what do you say is cost? You've lost. So I think we should rather not be. This is a fanciful debate. When we talk about cost and loss, it's a fanciful debate.
We're just playing with English.
Yes, that will not help anybody. The thing is that there is an inherent cost based on the trading model. The trading model itself is a bit. It gives way for the operational losses.
There's room for something like this to happen.
So the trading model itself gives room for the operational losses, which is why we need to remodel it. You see, it's no longer ideal for us. The thing is that we are getting the benefit. The city is stabilized. The economy is
fuel prices are down,
bouncing back.
Yeah.
We are feeling the impact. But must we continue to incur these operational losses? Looking at the amount, and even ask yourself, look at the amount we are asking, the basis of which we went to IMF under the previous government. You are losing almost $214 million.
Yes.
Compound it maybe by 2 or 3 years, and ask yourself how much would you need IMF again? You are getting hard currency. So I think it's good that we've identified some of these issues. Let's work on it. And I like the response of the governor. He said he will meet with the board of both the Bank of Ghana and the Gold Board, and they will invite some experts to look at how they will revise the trading model, which will help us. Do you understand? But there's one thing that stood out, and I was discussing it with Doc. I feel when you have an opportunity to appear before high-level accountability forums such as the Public Accounts Committee, you must have the right data, and when you are communicating, you must give the right information. Figures matter, particularly when it comes to institutional coherence. And with an institution like Bank of Ghana, this is a foremost institution that, in fact, produces data for the World Bank. So for the Bank of Ghana governor, earlier the governor had said that the operational losses under the G4O, the Gold for Oil program, in 2024 was $1.82 billion cedis. Then later, he had a debate with the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee, where he then changed his position to say that the operational loss in 2024 was 3.8, and I was surprised.
You could not understand the difference in the figures.
Earlier you had said
1.8 billion.
Then later you changed your stance and said 3.8 billion, to the point that even when the chairperson said, your own report, financials, the one published on your website, says 1.8. So where do you stand? And he maintained 3.8, but later said he was going to reconcile. I think it was needless. If you do not readily have the data, just tell the chairperson that.
Then stay away.
Yes, but do not engage in such debate, because what that tells the ordinary Ghanaian listening to you is that you are not armed with the relevant fact. And such platform, you must not go and create. In fact, you see, What this does is to invite unnecessary controversy. Then, because she was also part of the chairperson was part of the previous administration.
A deputy minister.
Exactly, a deputy minister of finance. She also wanted to defend the previous government and was trying to undermine you by saying that your data or your fact, you do not have the right fact. And that does not, in fact, engender confidence, because this is a governor who's supposed to have data. So my caution is that, Governor, whenever you have an opportunity to appear before such accountability forum, have your data. If you don't have your data, relax. Just tell them you defer or you get back to them. That's the simplest option you could have done. So I think he set the right tone. He did the right thing. I'm looking at future. He must make sure that whatever he does, and he told them that let's attack this or address this passionately. Let's not be partisan or engage in political debate. That is what we need. We need to go forward. And I'm saying that we also need to tell Ghanaians, particularly the opposition political parties, including BoG's party, that when government does something and it's good, it's good. When government does something and it's bad, it's bad. Let us not wade into matters and say because government has done it or belittle such efforts. It does not help anybody.
But also, I want to pick your thoughts on this, and I'll come back to you, Alhaji. Do you have finality now on who made the losses, the operational losses, the operational costs, the Bank of Ghana or Gold Board?
No, I think clearly it was a Bank of Ghana. Don't forget that it's a bank. The thing is that it's a Bank of Ghana that incurred the losses, not Gold Board. I think earlier.
So I asked this question to get to this one. That does it not then play into the hands of the Gold Board speakers who are saying that no, Gold Board has not incurred any loss because it does not do that.
No, the thing is that earlier, if you monitor the conversation itself, it shifted great boundaries. Earlier, it was an outright denial that there wasn't any operational
from
loss
anywhere.
Yes. So that was a major, in fact, information put out by the Gold Board leadership that there was no operational loss. Then later the narrative changed that, in fact, it was the Bank of Ghana and the Gold Board had not incurred any loss. And later, even the Gold Board CEO said, per their financials, they had even made profits. And that was an admission that there was now an operational loss. So, in fact, the admission by the later admission by the Gold Board CEO does not absolve them of their earlier commentary that nobody incurred any loss. Because don't forget that I said they tried to undermine the IMF data to the point that to say that the IMF data was wrong, and the IMF was trying to mischaracterize the government,
and they sought to forcefully push it in the minds of many Ghanaians that what the data that IMF is giving to us is not
exactly was false.
Yes, it may not be correct.
So later on, when they shifted their grounds, that is where Ghanaians should be asking themselves. Now, Sami Jeffin is saying that yes, there were operational losses, but these losses were inherent in the trading model. Yes, you should have said this in the beginning, because already under the previous administration we were incurring operational losses. So if you incur operational, it's nothing new. But the admission, that is the political fidelity that I always see. Integrity, data integrity.
Honesty, yeah. It seemed at the beginning was not there at all.
You see, Ghanaians voted for this government. In fact, voted for a change of government because they were looking for, or they were demanding, a government that is honest, transparent, and responsible about difficult fiscal realities. So when there are realities, tell us. But you cannot, in fact, undermine an institution like IMF because today it appears politically expedient to do so. But the same IMF will have to support you. You go to the IMF to help you cushion and even remodel some of your policies. The politicians must learn from this. And I think BoG's party, that is in opposition, should also learn from it, because when they got opportunity to rule or to govern in some years, they will do a better job.
So, Dr. Inusa, going forward, based on the comments from the BoG governor and then the positions of Gold Board and the communication generally, what lesson should all the stakeholders in the sector, what lessons should they learn on how to improve? Of course, they may be thinking of how to reduce the operational losses to the barest minimum.
Yeah, definitely. Every policy that runs ought to have a review, and it should hold some form of stakeholder engagement from the top to the bottom, which I think they have concurred to such recommendation, and they are going to meet up with the Gold Board and other sector players within the mining and gold space. So I think that is commendable. We have issues, structural issues as a country, and if you look at the IMF policy notes or 2025, it tells you that indeed the reason why we suffered due to COVID-19 and the Russia-Ukraine war was not solely because of what was happening within the global stage, but the weaknesses in our economic structure.
Our structures, our systems.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I believe that knowing this very well, it is prudent to review and reassess and then try and put in things or find solutions to mitigate these crises. For example, the gold for oil policy. We as a people did not know of the names of the aggregators, the off-takers, how much the gold was being sold for. There was a lot of opacity as compared to the transactions of the gold board. So to this morning, I must commend Sami Gyamfi. To me, I would say he is my best performing CEO for any SOE for the year 2025.
Right.
For how significant he's been able to mitigate the issues of gold smuggling, how he's been able for the first time to surpass the total output of the large-scale mining in Ghana. Because ASM produces more than even the large-scale mining players.
Well, that then will introduce the conversation about the proper clarity, how we can draw the line or find Galamsey gold and then non-Galamsey gold.
So this is also a real issue.
Yes.
Traceability, as they say. I think that they should put in systems in place, more systems in place. And indeed, they have different tiers of aggregators. So the aggregators, and I'm glad that they've also established a task force. So the task force ought to go down to the mining level to see the activities of these aggregators and to ensure that indeed they are buying gold from licensed ASMs and not Galamseyers. I think that is a very legitimate concern, because if we are talking about all these positive macroeconomic indicators and our environment is continuously degrading, then what is the gain?
Did we go or did we come?
Did we go or did we come? So I believe that it is very, very important. But here's a case, right? If you look at a gold for oil policy, it talks about what? Supply, steady supply, and price stability.
Great.
But I think that beyond that, if you look at the history of gold for oil, one of the countries that implemented gold for oil was Israel during the Ramadan war between Israel and the Arabs. And when Saudi Arabia, which had powers in OPEC, placed an embargo on Israel, Israel used gold to circumvent that embargo to buy fuel from, they call them friendly nations.
Right.
And even America suffered from that.
Yes.
And if you look at the policy by Richard Nixon at that time, one of the policies that they implemented within their road transport system was to reduce the speed limit. And in natural fact, when you reduce the speed limit, you reduce the demand for fuel.
Of course.
And the time it takes for a car to get back to the pump to refill. All these were multifaceted approach to what? Stabilize our macroeconomy due to these embargoes and this crisis. Did we have same in Ghana? We didn't have same. You've not diversified the economy. Today, we have about 60% of our land or 70% of our land that is arable. We're talking about a country like Malaysia, which came to learn how to plant oil palm from this country. And in a year, Malaysia rakes in $20 billion from oil palm. It's even an Islamic country. Imagine if they drank palm wine. How much they would even make from even the proceeds of the tree itself. You can imagine. So we need to think beyond these traditional export commodities.
Because
gold.
eventually they may not sustain us again.
Exactly. If it depletes, what are we going to do? Singapore. Look at Singapore today. Singapore is heavily industrialized. They've built a robust financial and IT sector. And it's taking over the world. We need generational thinkers. We need visionary thinkers. And Honorable Alan Kojo Tremantin, through his great transformational plan, and I entrust Ghanaians to go and download a copy of this GTP and read. We have talked about various industries that I think that if government should invest heavily, we would make a lot of money. Today, we enjoy exports of only crude oil. Now we're even producing about 126,000 barrels per day, right? We don't add value to this. And it is an opportunity for us to even invest in what we call the petrochemical hub, where fertilizer alone can be a game changer for us as a country and as a continent. Today, Dangote is making a lot of money from his refinery and producing fertilizers. What are we doing? So when we talk about a go for oil policy, another issue that I feel we need to diversify in our road transport system is to do with the source of energy for our road transport system. We depend on diesel and petrol and LPG. Today, the world is moving towards what? A cleaner and greener economy. We're talking about EV vehicles. What are we doing about that? Our import bill alone every month is about $400 million. Can you imagine if we're able to slash our import bill by 50% with the introduction of EV vehicles and even assembling them in Ghana and taking advantage of the lithium deposits that we have to produce batteries?
We'll have to build the plants.
My brother, Ghana loses $3 billion to corruption each year. Get this fact right. Ghana loses $3 billion to corruption each year. If we close the loopholes, this $3 billion alone can invest in these sectors that I'm talking about. Or even be a guarantee for us to go and even borrow and invest in these sectors. Fertilizer has an inelastic demand because we eat all the time. Farmers will definitely buy to be able to turn around. If we're able to go and borrow and build a petrochemical hub in this country where we can produce fertilizer, plastics, and the likes, my brother, we will be able to amortize our loan in due time. So this is what I'm talking about. We need to diversify the economy. We need to strengthen the structures of our economy. And indeed, the cost of borrowing, also, I believe that it has dropped, but I think that it should go towards a single-digit number.
The cost of borrowing.
Yes, so that you here seated here, I'm sure you have some wild, wicked business ideas. But of course, part of the challenge, I'm sure, is that, hey, who go give me cash?
I'll be here.
So I think that in the long run, let's look at long-term, long-term interventions to stabilize our macroeconomy. This gold reserve program, right? Gold for reserve program. The risk is to do with the prices of gold in the global market. If gold declines by even 10% or 20%, my brother, we are in trouble. So we need to have other streams that brings in the dollars for us. That's why I'm saying that if we invest heavily in our industrial base and diversify the industries that produce, I think that will go a long way in mitigating these challenges that we're dealing with as a country.
Okay. I'll get back to you, Doc, before you take leave of us. But I wanted to pick the thought of lawyer Austin Bracco Powers on this angle that we want to look at. So going forward, we've spoken about the need for transparency and integrity in terms of the communication. But if we're looking at 2025 and beyond, for the work of Gold Board and the BoG, so that we do proper opportunity costs and trade-offs in terms of the impact that the operations is having on the economy. How do we do that for 2025?
So I think the first focus should be a high-profile meeting. They need a high-profile meeting because there must be clear communication. The Gold Board is barely a year old. It's barely a year old, and even though they've been able to chalk some successes, there are inherent challenges. Some of their models, like we intimated earlier, their models need reworking. Again, the issue about Galamsey, the traceability of the gold that they are purchasing. This is very important because the gold board said this year they will be implementing the traceability technology or the system. We are hoping that at least there will be clearly communicated information in regards to how that is going to be done and whether it is sustainable. These are matters we should be looking at because chances are that if we don't take care, there's a likelihood that in future our gold may be banned, particularly because of the way it is damaging the environment.
KYCs and all that. Yeah.
You get it because the thing is that don't forget when it comes to cocoa now they scrutinize, they make sure that you are not employing underage minors.
That's right.
And they are making sure that you don't engage in child trafficking and child labor. These are matters we must also be considered because if we don't sanitize our system, if the government is not forthright and committed to this anti-galamsey fight, then it will have a crippling effect.
Counterproductive,
Yes, a crippling effect on the economy. Yeah. They must, even though the conversation around galamsey, the public debate had waned, we must reignite the conversation. Is the government doing what it is expected to do? Or is the government doing what it communicated to the public that it is doing? We must track them, public accountability. We must open the opportunity. Let Ghanaians see what is going on. Other than that, there will be worse consequences for our economy.
And finally, from you, Doctor, let's still stay on the concern about galamsey, how Gold Board may be directly or indirectly, contributing to galamsey, although government seems to be fighting it enough. How do we marry the two? You've spoken about traceability already, but beyond that, is there a way that we can be very certain that the operations of Gold Board is not, encouraging some forms of mining that may not be very legal?
I think that they need to bring about a clear policy framework of KYC, know your customer, right? Okay. As a first step, I believe that they talked about the issues of also the use of excavators within these galamsey regions, and that they are tracking them using geofencing technology, right? I believe that these collective technological innovation solutions that they want to input, together with other prudent policies or policy intervention, would help mitigate. But again, it is also a matter of human factor.
Yeah.
Those that we entrust to lead these operations,
can they do it?
Can they do it honestly and be virtuous and uphold to the values?
We've had interministerial committee on illegal mining.
Illegal mining.
Yeah.
Operation Vanguard, HOT, Recover One, the Charles BCU scandal, and all that. Ecosystem. So indeed, I mean, as my one of my mentors would say, he said, Jesus Christ lived. He brought the Bible. Prophet Muhammad got the revelation of the Quran, but yet still, people of faith do not follow. So you can have all these policies, you can have all these guidelines, but there's also the human factor.
The human being.
And indeed, our traditional authorities are also complicit in this, but you cannot also blame them, because if you look at Article 257 of the 1992 Constitution, it only entrusts the president, the executive, with all our mineral rights. But here we are, a traditional authority or a chief sits down in maybe Sefi, and he has the allodial rights to the land. And people will just sit in Accra and just sign a document, and the next thing you realize, somebody is on his land mining without his knowledge.
There's nothing he can do.
There's nothing he can do. So that is why some of them are also complicit in this act.
Right.
So I believe that in going forward as well, we need to amend Article 257 as part of our constitutional review to ensure that our traditional authorities become co-trustees of our minerals, so that collectively they can also help support government to fight the repugnant act and menace of galamsey.
Gentlemen, I'd like to thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I wish you a blessed day.
We've been speaking with Austin Bracco Powers, a private legal practitioner, and Dr. Ramsey Yunusa, Director, Political Research at the United Party. Doc, before you go, how is the UP doing? How is Alan?
The UP is doing fantastically well. Nice. We have had new constituency offices springing up. And so, yes, Ghanaians want a responsible opposition. not an opposition that would propel propaganda coupled with mischief, right? We are here to give the NDC a run for their money, and we will be responsible in exposing the facts and the rots as far as their governance of this country is concerned. Indeed, let me give a reminder to the NDC that the people of Ghana are still waiting for the $21.9 billion that they promised to recover under the aegis of the Operation Recover All Loot. Yes.
And the 24-hour economy as well.
Yes, and the 24-hour economy as well. And let me also say that we as a responsible opposition are open to work with the government to support them achieve the collective goal of leapfrogging the dreams and aspirations of the Ghanaian people. Because we believe that if Ghana wins, we all win.
Thank you. Thank you.